distinguished guests on the dais, my brothers and sisters from all over the world, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen. I must thank Dr. Ratnam for bringing me here. I was a bit confused when Ratnam asked me to go over here because I thought I'm a trained cardiologist, a professor of cardiology in various universities, and I have been trying to understand human wellness and human illness for well over half a century, ever since I joined the Stanley Medical College in Chennai way back in 1956. Would you believe even now I am confused? Now today I am more confused because I was listening to the various talks from the morning, almost synonymously using the word wellness, integrated medicine, on all kinds of things together. Let me make certain definitions very clear. Irrespective of what medicine it is, whether it is allopathic or homeopathic, all medicines other than homeopathic are allopathic. Allo is against, pathy is disease. So if you give anything against a disease, it becomes an allopathy. So even the so-called alternative medicine, so-called complementary medicine are all allopathic. But homeopathy is something little different. That's one point. Wellness is your birthright. Would you believe that when a human body is designed by their great creator, it was designed in such a way that it should correct itself should something go wrong, not expecting any one of us to be assisting the ill people. You would be surprised. We were hunter-gatherers in the forest, and if there are only two causes of death, one is predation, the other one is old age. Supposing a tiger came and ate a limb of yours and ran away, you wouldn't die. Do you know that? You wouldn't die because the nature has provided a system called the autonomic nervous system, which redistributes the circulation, which closes down the bleeding vessels, which clots the blood, and which cools your body and reduces the oxygen demand. So chances are that you will not die. A recent audit of the Falklands War, which the British fought in South America, and the Vietnam War, which the Americans fought in Vietnam, shows us that in Vietnam, a grievously injured soldier had a 5-star modern medical treatment in Saigon within 5 to 10 minutes, carried by a helicopter. Whereas in Falklands, the British had no friends, and the soldiers were left on the ice, luckily, because it was October, November, December that the war took place, for as long as 24 to 48 hours. Now the audit shows the per capita death of the grievously injured people is slightly better in Falklands than in Vietnam, which means by doctors' intervention, we have sent more people to meet their maker in heaven faster. But let me hasten to add, having said that, irrespective of what system it is, if you administer a medicine into the system, there are a lot of changes occurring in the human body. That is the reason why a great thinker, Oliver Wendell Holmes, who trained as a doctor, became a professor of anatomy in the Harvard Medical School, very quickly left that to become a poet, wrote this beautiful word, "Take this home with you." He said, I quote, "If the whole materia medica simply means all the medicines, if the whole materia medica could be sunk to the bottom of the Bay of Bengal, it will be that much worse for the fishes and that much be good for the humankind." So now I'll bring you to the wellness concept. If you want to be well, have a mind which is well. Most, if not all, diseases start in the human mind, grow in the human body, aspected by your gene, and encouraged or suppressed or encouraged by the environment in which we live. No, I don't need the slides because I don't think there is time for slides. Close that down, please. Okay, thank you. Hang on. Now, Where is the mind? Where is the mind? Never mind. And what is matter? No matter. A month ago, I was lecturing along with one of the greatest physicists of this world, the president of the Max Planck Institute in Munich, Germany. His name is Hans-Peter Dürr. And Hans was talking on matter, and I was talking on the new concept of holism in modern medicine. The old man started, he is 84 years old. He said, I'm a nuclear scientist. My job is to look at matter at its subtlest, and the subtlest level, which I've been doing for the last 55 years in the Max Planck Institute, and my predecessors were Albert Einstein and Werner Heisenberg. And after 55 years, ladies and gentlemen, I now know there is no matter at all. So friends, matter and energy are two faces of the same coin. So human body is a bundle of jumping leptoquarks. Leptoquark is the last bit of matter. Atom, hydrons, leptoquarks. Lepto is in Latin means the smallest. Quark is a bit. So you and I are jumping leptoquarks. You and I look solid because it is only an illusion, or if you want to call it as a delusion. But when we all meet here, now a lot of us have come together. This is the beginning. Coming together is the beginning. But staying together is progress. And working together is the goal. Please take home this message. Any medicine, irrespective of what name you give it, is probably not good for the human system. Unless the human system really is in a bad shape. And that happens in emergency care, where you require the modern medical assistance. Modern medicine is a necessity in emergency care. God forbid, if one of us is you can't say, I will do meditation and my bones will get set. No, you have to go for modern medical treatment. But the incidence of emergency is only 5% of the population. 95% of the illnesses are probably self-correcting. Most illnesses are what are called minor illness syndromes. These do not require any medicines whatsoever, and it requires a little rest, and it dies at its own time. Then there are what are called chronic incurable diseases, like cancer, for example. Nothing much can be done. You have to only do what Hippocrates wrote. Cure rarely, comfort mostly, but console always. And that's what medicine does. And that could be achieved by a mind which is tranquil. How do you do that? Very simple. Mind is not in the brain. Mind is in every cell of the human body at its subatomic level. But there is a headquarters which manages the whole human system. That's called the human brain. All of you must be knowing that the human brain is a beautiful organ, but has two separate entities, the right brain and the left brain, connected by a number of axons, nearly 3 billion axons of an organ called corpus callosum. Now, for those people who understand the computers, let me tell you, the right brain is a parallel processor. The left brain is a serial processor. So the right brain is in touch with the whole universe. The left brain is I am. You know, it tells you, oh, you are B.M. Hegde. You must be something different from others. The left brain tells you. Left brain tells you, you must make money. The left brain tells you, you must cheat others. The left brain tells you, you sell a medicine and make money, come what may. But the right brain says, no, you are me. This mic is myself. Because the leptoquarks in this mic and leptoquarks in me are alike. And Hans-Peter Dürr, who is a German, was quoting ancient Indian scripture to say how much the Indian rishis knew about the mind. He said, the mind is leptoquark is everywhere, and this I call as a duality in English, but the Indian sages called it as Advaita, and he quoted this beautiful stanza which says, Bahir antascha bhutanam. It's inside and outside. Charam acharamevacha. The leptoquark is so moving around the nucleus, but you still look solid. Sukshmavatet avijja.